So before we get into this preview, I did want to discuss something kind of funny from the weekend because I know a lot of people say that looking at online comments doesn't really matter, but sometimes I do think there's a lot of hilarity that can be found whenever you search through Facebook posts, Twitter posts, even YouTube comment sections. There's a lot of fun to be had with people who just spout off and say whatever's on their mind. And obviously we know that one of the worst fan bases about this is Arsenal. Whether it's claiming Rice should have won the Ballon d'Or last year, claiming Arteta is on the same level as Mourinho, Pep, and Ferguson, or just claiming that they're the biggest club in London, there's a lot of delusional takes from a majority of the Arsenal fan base. But I will say this weekend, while I enjoyed seeing them get beat, they probably got beat by the only team that I would prefer them not to get beat by. Because the Man U fans online, while there aren't as many of them that are as delusional as the Arsenal fan base, what they lack in quantity, they make up for in quality. Because they get two good results against Man City and Arsenal, and suddenly they're talking about how Bruno Fernandes is the best midfielder in the world. They're talking about Ballon d'Orgu. Talking about Michael Carrick as if he's an elite level manager, saying that Palmer wants to go to Man U now. Like, for Arsenal fans, at least they've had 3 years where they've been challenging for the title to kind of build up this delusion. Man U fans, it just took them 2 games. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. So looking ahead to the Napoli match tomorrow, this is a very big game for us, mostly because this is our chance to end up in the top 8 of the Champions League table, which then means fewer games that we have to play. And if there's been an Achilles heel for us this season outside of obviously the low block, it has been going away in these Champions League matches. You look at Karabag, you look at Atalanta, Bayern. I think those matches expose probably the weakest part of having such a young, inexperienced team, which is when you go to an away game where typically the fans are very much up for it. A lot of these younger players, they struggle in those environments, and I think we saw that. Karabag, we should be rolling over, and yet we couldn't get the win there. Atalanta, they're a good team. Are they a team that should be beating us? No. I think you've also got the Leeds match that you can look at. So this is a game where I want to see improvement as far as going away to a tough atmosphere and getting the win that we need to get. It'll also give me some hope that we can go to the Emirates and pick up a result there, because obviously we need to since we lost the first leg. But for Rosenior, this is also where I'm going to be interested to see how he does going forward, because with so many matches coming in quick and fast, the rotation is something I think Maresca failed at that I want to see Rosenior do better with. And we saw him making a lot of subs when we went 3-0 up against Palace. Some people were criticizing that, but I personally think it's to rest some of these players because he's going to play them again here. Now, if that's not the case, then I'll criticize that decision. But if that is what he's planning to do, I think it's a good thing because it allows us to continue to use our best players without wearing them out. And that's something that Maresca didn't really seem to want to do. He would just typically make a ton of changes instead of trying to keep his best 11 out on the pitch and just make subs whenever players need a break. But this is going to be a rough one. I don't think Napoli's in a good run of form right now, but they did just win the Italian league last year. They've got some Premier League proven players in there that know Chelsea, and obviously a manager who knows Chelsea as well. So it's going to be a very interesting contest, and I hope all the players are up and ready for it, because I do think this is a win that would really build the confidence. We've had a good run of wins so far. Because of the manner of some of those wins, because of the teams we're facing, a lot of people aren't really getting that excited yet about it. This would be a good one to get the win and get the fans behind you. Get the fans excited about seeing more of what Rosenior can bring. Because again, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that we haven't really upgraded on Maresca. And so far, I'm seeing a bit more from Rosenior than we did from Maresca. Now granted, Maresca started pretty well and eventually dropped back into kind of a boring, inadaptable system, so maybe Rosenior will hit that point as well. But for right now, what I'm seeing is there's a better mentality about these players. He's willing to switch up the formation and the tactics a little bit to bring the best out of what he has, instead of Maresca just trying to force what he wants to do, the way he wants to play, no matter who we're facing. But looking at the starting 11, obviously in goal it's got to be Sanchez. The backline, I'm hoping it's James, Chalobah, Fofana, and Cucurella. I could see him maybe giving Cucurella a break here and playing Hato, and I could also see him moving James up into the midfield and playing Gusto or Achimpong there. But I think that back four is very solid, and I want to see our back four not change as much. Because I understand they're not going to be playing every single match, but I do want to see a bit more consistency back there. Obviously, we've got Anselmino coming back. Don't know how he's going to feature. I don't think he's back in time for the game tomorrow. Could be wrong about that. But I just think that lack of consistency in our back line is really what's affected us for a lot of this season. So I'm hoping with Rosenior, he won't be making so many adjustments to the back line every single match. Making changes one every 4 matches is understandable. And again, I do think Hato is a player you need to give some time to. Same for Achimpong as well. So I'm not saying I don't want to see them at all, but I think keeping this back four intact in most of our matches is going to be important because we need them to build a relationship with each other so that we can stop conceding so many unnecessary goals. Into the midfield, I would not be surprised at all to see the same midfield three we saw against Palace: Caicedo, Santos, and Fernandez, mostly because I don't think Napoli at home are going to really pack it in against us. So I think that midfield three should be fine. Like I've said before, whenever we play the teams that are in the low block, that's where I think this midfield three, it just lacks the creativity we need without a proper number 10 to try to break through that block. So here, I think this midfield three would probably work. I don't think Palmer's going to be fit to start. I don't think Lavia is going to be fit to start. The only change that I could see is possibly instead of Santos, maybe James. But that's about the only change that I expect to see. Getting into the wings, I think Esteval will start on the right side. I think his performance against Palace warrants another start, and the fact that he got subbed off as well, I think, is Rosinha trying to manage his minutes so we don't burn him out. And I said this before when Maresca played him 3 matches in a row against very difficult teams. I think we saw by that third game he was starting to wear down a little bit. So while he's a great player, and I understand the desire to see him start every single match, at the same time, I think if we do that, there's that risk that he does start to wear down. We start to see less and less of the creativity he brings because he's still young. He's still growing as a player. I think the problem with Maresca was not that he was trying to manage his minutes. I think the problem was that he wasn't playing him enough. And then when he finally did give him some time, it was 3 matches in a row of starting, and I just don't think he was ready for that. So I think it's going to be a balancing act for a senior to give him some starts, to give him the minutes he needs to grow without playing him too much to the point of wearing him out. But I think playing him 2 matches back-to-back shouldn't really be an issue. I expect him to still be very effective against Napoli. On the other side, this is where there's a lot of questions. I think Neto typically would be my choice. After that performance against Palace, though, I do wonder if he maybe needs a break, because he did look well off it compared to his usual energetic performance. So I don't know if he needs a break or not. If he does, I expect it'll be Garnacho on that left side, or maybe Gittins. I thought he had a couple of decent moments against Palace. I think he's shown his quality in the Champions League, his ability to take on those defenders, but also the fact that Garnacho didn't play against Palace does raise the question of, well, is he going to get minutes here so that we keep him happy? So definitely a lot of questions about the left side. Personally, I think if Neto is fully fit, if he's not going to be at the same level he was against Palace, I'd prefer to see him out there. But if he does need a break, I'd probably start with Gittins and then sub Garnacho on later, because he's shown to be better coming off the bench anyway. He may not like that, he may not want to be a super sub, but that's what he's shown to be good at the moment. And then up top, I think you got to go with João Pedro again. I know he's probably going to want to give Delap minutes, but I just think João Pedro's got so much more to his game than Delap does, and he helps the team so much more with his ability to hold up play, to get on the ball, whereas Delap, I think, is always just looking to run in behind. He's not actually looking to hold up possession. And that's fine if we're playing a team that is going to step out a lot, is going to give him a ton of space in behind, and if we're not looking to keep a lot of possession, we're looking to just boot it long, then cool, that's something Delap can do well. But typically we're a team that likes to keep possession. We want to use our striker in the build-up play as well, and João Pedro just does that so much better. So I think if we want to give ourselves the best chance of scoring some goals here, João Pedro needs to start. But going into my overall expectations and hopes, obviously expect to win this. Napoli's really not been good in the Champions League this season, so we need to take advantage of that. I'd like it to be comfortable, but I don't think it's going to be, just because, again, I think this young squad going away to Italy, it's going to be a tough ask for them. So if I had to do a score prediction, I'd probably say 2-1 to Chelsea. I think one thing I also hope, depending on fitness and all of that, I do hope Palmer and Lavia can get some minutes in. For Lavia, I'm not really holding my breath that he's going to stay around for a long period of time, even though he's finally training again. I mean, to be fair, I did say the same thing about James last year, so every single time he comes back could be the time where it finally has worked, it's finally fixed. He's going to be back for the long haul. But I don't know, for Lavia, it feels like no matter what the medical team has done, he can't seem to keep himself fit. For Palmer, it's really hard to tell just because it seems like he's having different muscle injuries, so it's tough to determine whether this is going to be a continuous problem or just something that he's dealing with right now, and it's something that if he just works on it a little bit, it'll get better. But more than anything, we need him to get minutes, mostly because when he came back from the groin injury, he wasn't looking at his best. He was looking a little bit slower, looked very rusty on the ball. So once he fully returns from this thigh injury, we need him to get more minutes so that rustiness shakes off and we can start to see him get back to the best that he was a couple years ago. And I really do hope that Rosinha does allow him to be the player that we know he can be, because a lot of people have talked about it. Poch brought the best out of him, and I do think Maresca kept him pretty limited in my opinion. And he does seem to be a player that needs to be free to go attack and go show his quality in the final third. So I am hoping Racine is going to be the man for that. But whatever the case, those are all of my thoughts on the game tomorrow. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are you expecting to see? What are you hoping to see? Let me know. We can talk about, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. And until next time, hope you guys have a great day. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.